Hello there, my friends. I see you have joined me to learn a little bit more on how not to think about the past and move forward. Because there's many times when we say we're not going to keep dwelling on the past, but yet we have a sadness still moving forward. Well, God wants to get rid of that bit of sadness. He wants you to let go of the past, but yet move forward with a smile. Well, my name is Dorothy Wellington. I'm an inspirational teacher for the Just God Academy, and also I have a podcast. It's called Healing Inspirations for the Body and Mind. And every podcast is just that it's about healing. Well, once I came across an article that requested short remedies for how to not think about the past. Now, I have a counseling agency for 15 years, and I conducted many workshops with people on just that subject and letting go of the past or letting they had lost some loved ones and how to let go. But what in the world could I say briefly, as the article was asking for, in only a few words? Well, at age 20, I lost my mother, and it has still been one of the greatest events for feelings of sadness and loss I've ever experienced. So, no matter if your hurtful event was a loss of a loved one, or the event was something big or small, there is some common truths in how to overcome them all. So I'm going to go through seven of these truths that I had to experience and learn myself, and that I taught others in those 15 years. So number one is to accept the past with grace. You know, you can be fighting yourself, beating up yourself, emotionally with what you had to go through or what happened. Sometimes it's divorce, it could be a breakup or separation from your best friend. It could be moving into another city. It could be moving to another city. It could be a loss of employment. It could be many, many things. A loss of health. That's a loss too. I was at the grocery store the other day and I heard someone behind me, they were shuffling their feet. And through some of the disabilities that I've had, I know that means they was having trouble walking. Sure enough, she had the grocery cart, and right when she passed me, the grocery cart went down and she hit the floor right behind the grocery cart. But she was blessed that when that happened, within a minute, I would say maybe 2 minutes, two men came by because I wasn't able to get her up. Two men came by and lifted her up. So she lost her ability to walk. And I don't know how she did when she would go through the cash register, but that's a loss. That's something you have to let go concerning the past too. My ability to walk. Uh, a lot of times people don't like taking medication, but then because of an illness, but then it's like I don't want to take medication. I want to be like I was before. I don't want to take anything. So number one is to accept the past with grace. Gently allow that it did happen. A change happened to you. A change happened with your family. We got dementia and Alzheimer's. A change happened with your parent, with your sister, with your brother, with your grandparents. Changes happen. So accept the past with grace. Be gentle to yourself and allow the thought that it did happen. It did happen. Number two, do not linger with regret as if you could have changed the past. That's something you cannot do. You cannot change the past. You can live in the present and you can have hope in the future, but you cannot change the past. And a lot of times we spend a lot of our hours and sleepless night lingering with regret that the past happened. We didn't accept change with grace, and we cannot change the past. So we become a worry wart. You cannot change the past. So do not linger with that word regret. Regret that happened. I hate that happened. Number three, do not feel guilty for letting go. Now, the second part of this was how not to think about the past and move forward. It requires you to let go. It requires a letting go. And sometimes we feel guilty for letting go. We feel guilty for letting go. And 4 and 5 is going to relate to you also. If I let go, well, I don't care about my loved ones that was in the past. I don't care about my co-workers that I had to leave. I don't care. Whatever it is, you must not feel guilty for letting go of the past. You cannot feel guilty and move forward and be happy in letting go. Now, number 4, it goes along with number 3. Do not feel guilty to be happy. Because when you make a decision, I'm going to let my past go, especially if it was involving some loved ones, especially, if it was your best friend, your husband, wife, and you let go and you say, I'm going to be happy. It feels like those past relationships, you know, I'm demeaning them because now I'm going to be happy. Does it mean that I didn't care about them? I didn't care about the neighbors I left behind when I moved out of state because I am so happy where I am. Don't be surprised you start feeling guilty because you're happy for letting painful, hurtful events, whether big or small, let them go. And you'll feel happy, and then you can feel guilty also. Now, number 5 goes along with 3 and 4. Do not be ashamed of letting go. Do not be ashamed of letting go. Because again, we can feel ashamed to let go, especially if it was loss of a loved one. We can actually feel ashamed of letting go. Uh, Wishing, again, as we talked about in number 2, with regret. I am ashamed of letting go because I'm still devaluing my loved ones. If I let go, I'm starting to feel ashamed. How I'm going to talk to people when they say, what's wrong with her? She just feels just like she's happy letting go of the situation in her past, especially if it was something good and you let go. Of course, people are going to be happy for you. It was a horrible, domestic violence or anything like that. But don't be ashamed of letting go of some good things that may have happened, especially with love relationships. So do not be ashamed of letting go. Just smile and get out there. Do not be ashamed of letting go. Number 6, replace the thought of the event or person with something good and pleasant. You can't keep the same vocabulary of the past in your present. You can't keep the same vocabulary of your past into your future. You got to replace those thoughts of the event or person with something good and pleasant. I know it took me a few years because I never did know, way back yonder way, they didn't teach you how to deal with grief. So after a number of years, what I would think, my mom was a fantastic lady and a leader, I would just say, you know what? My mom is in heaven and she's ruling around everybody. She's telling everybody, giving everybody assignments and making sure they're carrying out those assignments. But see, that gave me a smile. Not the ones, oh my God, my mom died in January 1970. Then you'll start rehearsing those very sad dates and things like that again. So this is something you must do. You must replace a thought of the event or a person with something good and pleasant. And it must put a smile on your face. Otherwise, you're going to start feeling guilty and get back into regret. Now, number 7, be disciplined at replacing the thought, and keep a smile and keep the new thought as a daily affirmation. And you're going to have to keep it as a daily affirmation because you're turning the corner, and your subconscious and your conscious mind does not want to change. It's going to fight you. So you're going to have to be disciplined at replacing the thought, smile, it makes it easier, and keep the new thought as a daily affirmation for a season. How long, Dorothy? Until you feel it in your heart. You feel that change in your heart and you can get a smile. So I want to close this teaching to tell you that God always has a way for us to go through difficult times, and come out with a smile. It may take a little bit because you're like turning that U-turn from sadness and unhappiness, from grief from guilt, from being ashamed. You're changing some things. So be patient and loving and kind with yourself. And I'll be back with you again. You can always find videos on my healing broadcast and also on YouTube. All right, I say God bless you, and I will be seeing you again. Bye-bye.